Welcome to Well Body. I'm Renee, your host, and this is the podcast for everything your body needs as a woman to become healthier and fitter effortlessly. Here, we're all about feeling energized, beautiful, strong, and going from zero to thriving. Let's ditch the Fitspo diet culture once and for all and start living your best life with methods that actually make real lasting changes. It's time to embrace the journey to a well body holistically. Let's dive in together. Hello, lovely, and welcome back to the Well Body podcast. I cannot believe that we're already in quarter two already. How are we in April? It's just wild to me that this is where we're at. And time is really flying. And if you're anything like most of the women that I work with, you might be feeling a little bit of that pressure that, I said that this year would be the year I put my health first, but life's been lifing and you haven't quite gotten there yet. Well, if that's where you're at and that's how you're feeling, this episode is for you. And if you're smashing it or you've barely gotten it out of the first gear, well, this is your quarter two check-in. And this is a moment for you to pause, reflect, reset, realign, because no matter how your year started, you still have the power to finish it strong. So let's start with honesty. No judgment, no shame, just curiosity. And if you're listening to this podcast at home, I recommend you going and grabbing a pen and paper, pausing this episode and actually answering these questions and pausing and replaying the episode as you go along. Or if you're listening to this whilst you're walking or driving or wherever, just think about these questions and maybe reflect on them later. But what I really want you to ask yourself is, what habits have actually stuck since January? What have I actually committed myself to that I said I was going to? Have I just kind of written everything down and made a plan but not actually taking action on the plan? And this is what happens to a lot of people is they'll get a plan in place or they'll hire a coach, but then they've actually got to show up and do the work, and that's the hard part. And I know that sounds pretty harsh, but it's true. Like you can have all the plans, all the ebooks, all the PDFs under the sun. You can have all the different coaches you like, but unless you take action on the work, it's not going to happen. And taking action is actually hard. And you have to create discipline around it. You have to create that discipline around showing up for yourself and putting in the reps. So if you're finding that you've overcommitted yourself to too many habits, or there's too many things that you said to yourself that you're going to do, then I want you to look at that list of goals and maybe reanalyze, reassess, and rejudge where you want to be. Sometimes I feel like we rush into the year, and astrologically, the new year actually shouldn't start until around like the 30th of March. And I feel like that just feels more alive within me personally. I feel as though I'm ready to really get going by then. And January and February and March, they're just kind of like figuring shit out. It's the figuring shit out months. And then really the good stuff for me personally really starts to happen from March onwards. I don't know if it's because I have kids and it's the school holidays and you're navigating and juggling so much, and you're doing the basics and you're doing what you can, but when you have other things you really want to focus on, I personally find that I am like in the depths of it about now. So if I look at the habits that I wanted to apply for myself, I've definitely stuck to some of them, but there's some of them I need to reflect on and go, okay, quarter two, I'm focusing on you. So reassess the habits that you've actually stuck to, what's worked for you since January, and things that you need to start re-looking at and making sure you're implementing. The next question I want you to ask yourself is, what's something you're proud of? Because there's always wins to find out of everything. If the first quarter of the year has been messy for you, has been hard, has been emotional, maybe you've been hit with some surprises that you weren't expecting and they weren't the greatest, there's always something to find out of any situation, whether that's a lesson, whether that's just something positive to help you keep going and moving forward. So if I think about it in my perspective, something I'm proud of is that I've opened myself up to doing the deeper work. And I've done so much deep work, and I feel like we're always in a phase in our life where we're constantly doing the deep work. But I feel like I'm getting to the depths of it now more than I ever have, and just acknowledging some limiting beliefs that are coming up around certain things I'm trying to do in my own life that's holding me back as to why I haven't gone as far as what I had hoped or thought I would have. But I'm doing some deeper soul searching on that, and that's something I'm really proud of, because I've always been quite a just go, 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 go kind of person. And I'm trying to find the balance between the yin and the yang in my life so that I'm balancing the go, 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 direct, direct, determined kind of side of me, but also really nurturing and tuning into the softer side. And so I'm really proud that I have made that a priority. And I'm also really proud of the fact that I am going all in on this back healing journey and just trying to figure out why this back pain has been something I've been coping with for the last 3 years and where that's coming from. I've tried everything physical you can think of in terms of manually getting help. I've also maintained strong, and I've even eliminated anti-inflammatory foods. Eliminated anti-inflammatory. I have implemented an anti-inflammatory diet. I gave up gluten, like everything you can think of to try and get rid of inflammation in my body. I have done it. And yeah, I'm still in pain, but I'm slowly getting better because I'm working on the emotional side of things. And it's just, I'm really proud of that. That is something that I do a lot with other people, but don't really do with myself. And so now that I'm doing it myself, I just feel like energetically it's going to change my life. So I'm really proud of that. So I'm just using myself as an example to help you answer these questions for yourself. Because sometimes hearing an example from someone else, it just gives us that idea of, oh, okay, maybe there are some things that I can think of myself, or maybe I am proud of something. It doesn't always have to be something that is a number, like, oh, I've achieved 10 kilo weight loss. Like, that's not always the biggest achievement, you know what I mean? Okay, so the next question I want you to ask yourself is, where are you feeling most disconnected from your body, from your energy, and from your goals? What is the disconnect you're feeling that is stopping you from sticking to those habits? So this is quite a deep question, and it's something I really want you to think on. So if you've got a pen and paper right now, I want you to pause it and really just think about, what are you feeling most disconnected from at the moment? So for me personally, if I give you an example, I was feeling disconnected from my back. So my back being in so much pain to the point that I wasn't even exercising as much as I usually have done throughout the last 3 years dealing with this. So I was exercising, but I definitely wasn't doing as much. And that actually made me feel a bit disconnected from my body. So I'm rekindling that connection with my body again. And I'm not using my back injury or whatever it is. It's not even an injury. I did it picking up washing. It's not an injury. But whatever this thing that is going on with my back, I'm using this as a way to reconnect with my body on a deeper level. And I'm actually excited. I feel like this has happened to me for a reason, so that I can learn and understand from a deeper point of view about the mind-body connection. So I'm excited to reconnect with my body in terms of not navigating my movements and my workouts and even just picking things up off the floor based on back pain. So I'm excited to reconnect with that. But now that I've acknowledged that that's the disconnection, I can now move forward on reconnecting with that. The next question I'm going to ask you is, how have you been supporting your cycle? Or have you just been pushing through? Have you had 3 cycles this year? Or are your cycles all over the place? Are you constantly late? Or do you not even know where you're at? Do you not even track? If you are not even at the point where you're supporting your cycle through tracking your cycle, what I encourage you to actually do is start tracking your cycle. Start tracking your cycle from today and just start writing down symptoms or the way you feel, different moods, energy. Just guesstimate where you're at. And if you are just, your brain can't connect to the idea of doing that, then do it from your first day of menstruation. So the day that you have your first big bleed, not spotting, but when you have your first day of your bleed, and start tracking from there and start writing down how you feel, your energy, the foods that you ate, cravings. Just really start assessing everything that is going on within your cycle, because our cycle is one of the best ways to self-audit what's really going on in our bodies. Sometimes we're not stuck, we're just misaligned. It's like trying to force a square peg into a round hole. And honestly, the most powerful thing you can do right now is pause, breathe, and get clear. Maybe you've been all or nothing. Maybe you've been stuck in survival mode. That's okay. This check-in is here to help you move forward with intention. And you can only move forward by stopping and looking at where you're at now, reflecting on that, and moving forward. So if you're still stuck, I really want you to start here. You've done your self-audit, you've answered those 4 questions, and now we're going to simplify everything. So here's your comeback plan. Step 1 is to pick one anchor habit, something that grounds you. Not 10 new things, just one. So for example, drinking 2 liters of water every day, eating a protein-rich breakfast every day, or just going for a 10-minute walk. And then step 2 is set a micro goal. Not, I'm going to train 5 days a week. Try, I'll move my body for 10 minutes 4 times this week. And then step 3 is track it for 7 days. You don't need a fancy tracker. You just need a note on your phone or a calendar tick or just somewhere you can write it down, keep it visible. Remember, consistency beats intensity every single time. If I use myself as an example, even though I've been dealing with this chronic back pain, I've still showed up and done some form of strength training because that is a habit that I have anchored in my life over the last 16 years. Like I've been doing it since high school, strength training, and it's something I've always continued to show up for. And because it's so consistent in my life, it's something I always show up for in some way. It might not be as much as I usually do, but it's still showing up in my life because I was so consistent with it for so long. And that consistency beats the intensity because I'm still doing it, which is amazing for my body, even if I'm not doing it to the intensity or the way I would have liked to. Now we're going to break the goal into habits. So let's say your goal is, I want to feel more energized. That's beautiful, right? It's a great goal to have. But what does that look like in action? Because action is the most important part here. Let's break it down. My action tasks are go to bed by 10 p.m. at the absolute latest, 5 nights a week. Get sunlight in your eyes before screens in the morning. Have protein and carbs within 90 minutes of waking. And also scheduling movement in your calendar like it's an important appointment with yourself. Small, repeatable habits, okay, are so much better than grand, unsustainable plans. You can't go from level 1 to level 10. You got to start small. And if you want to feel strong, focus on lifting weights twice a week with perfect form and intention. If you want to balance your hormones, look at your cycle. Just start tracking it. You can maybe start by just reducing processed foods and stabilizing your blood sugar levels through making sure you're eating balanced meals. Or you can get more curious about your stress. You can't do it all at once. Okay, it takes time, but you can start somewhere. So choose where you want to start and stack from there. Okay, this is why a lot of my VIP programs are 20 weeks because sometimes it just takes 4 weeks for someone to get into the habit of meal prepping. You know what I mean? So you've got to build those foundations and get those foundations in a good place. Build those habits. And over time, that is when you're going to see the success. Remember, consistency always beats intensity every single time. So how can you reclaim your health for the rest of the year? Well, this is your moment to take it back. You don't need to wait till Monday or next month or until you feel motivated. Start after you listen to this podcast. You just need one clear decision. Okay, and that is, I'm not giving up on myself. And here's how you can reclaim your health in quarter 2. I want you to pick a word for this quarter, whether it's nourish, whether it's commit, whether it's reset, whether it's empower. And then I want you to anchor your actions in your cycle. If you're in your luteal phase, maybe you're focusing on recovery, nutrition, and grounding. If you're in your follicular phase, you've got energy, use it to start something new. I'm encouraging you as a female to start mapping out your cycle and mapping out your next 4 weeks based on what phase you're in and where you're at. And if you need help with that, you can come and join the Cycle Sync Club because this is literally everything you learn about what to do. So if you're interested in that, I'm going to link that in the show notes below. But the Cycle Sync Club is now open and we are now taking enrollments and the course is magic. It's all done on audios as well, so you can do it as you live your busy lifestyle, doing your bits and pieces. You don't have to sit down and watch videos for 45 minutes, 50 minutes, okay? I've made it really simple for busy women like yourself. I also really want you to make this promise to yourself this quarter, and that is keep the promises you make to yourself, okay? And keep them small and keep them sacred. But it's so important that you have this mindset that you're not fixing yourself. You're just reconnecting with your body. Okay, and that is going to be led with compassion and commitment. So keep the promises you make to yourself. Hold yourself accountable to what you have said yourself that you're going to do. What I also encourage you to do, if you've made a vision board, look at that vision board and go, is this still aligned with who I am? Because it's okay for it to change. It's okay for it to not to be as aligned with where you had kind of thought you were going to be. And if things have changed or ideas have changed in your mind, it's okay to change things a little bit on your vision board. But I also don't want you to get too in your head about needing to change it all the time, because I do want you to believe in yourself that you can do anything you put your mind to. But if you don't feel aligned with a trip to Bali like you thought you were going to, you can change that to, I don't know, I'm going to go to Fiji at the end of the year instead. So it's okay for you to change things a little bit, or just keep things there knowing that we're only in Q2 and you've still got a long time. There's still a lot of time. A lot can happen in a month. A lot can happen in a week. So you don't have to change everything, but it's okay if you don't feel as connected to something as you thought you did. And if you haven't done a vision board yet, then I recommend you start one. Do a vision board for this year and stick some things on there that you want to see in your life. You want to see that different in your life, or you want to achieve, or you want to work towards. Whether that's, a picture of nourishing food because that's how you want to eat, or whether it's a picture of someone lifting weights because that's something you want to start, or whether it's a picture of a uterus because that's something you want to learn more about as your menstrual health. Whatever you want to achieve this year, put that in a visual board and look at it every day to remind yourself that that is something that is going to be in your hands, and that is something you're capable of achieving and of receiving. So here's my challenge to you. Like I said, pause this episode, okay, and ask, what's one thing I can commit to for the next 7 days? And what's one habit I can reclaim that helps me feel like me? As well as going back and answering those questions that I said at the beginning of the podcast, and actually doing the reflection work that I am setting for you to do in this podcast, and take action on it. And then start. Not perfectly, not intensely, just consistently. Okay, just start and be consistent with what you can. So if you want to go the extra mile, feel free to DM me your Q2 theme. Tag me on your socials if you've made yourself a vision board and you feel like sharing it. I'd love to see it. Or even message me if you'd like some extra help on how you can take the next step and reclaim your health. Whether you want a personalised program, whether you want to be a part of the Cycle Sync Club, or you want one of my hormone support meal plans, I've got you covered, and I've got all the information on how you can get extra help with all of that in the show notes below. But remember, you deserve to feel good in your body. You deserve to feel proud of how you show up for yourself, and you deserve to write a new story for the rest of this year. I'm sending you lots of love, and remember, you've got this. You've always got this.